The Republic of Ecuador is a country situated in South America, bordered by Colombia on the north, Peru on the east and south, and the Pacific Ocean in the west, which includes the Galapagos Islands that belong to Ecuador. The capital city is Quito. Ecuador has a population of 17,051,919 people, from which 71.9% are mestizos, 7% Amerindians, as well as 7% Afro-Ecuadorians and Montubios, and 6.1% of the population is white. Its official language is Spanish, and the most prominent religion is Catholicism. This presentation will consist of a little background on Ecuador's size in relation to the Peruvian War and what happened to our land. Important issues in the economy and politics of Ecuador will be addressed, such as el feriado bancario, which was a period of economic instability that led to the adoption of the US dollar, and it also led to immigration. In addition, Ecuador has experienced numerous overthrows that are important in its history, like the 2001, which occurred after the feriado bancario. And then in 2010, we have the 30S event, or El Evento del 30S, which was in September 30th. And this occurred when ex-President Correa was in office. Another aspect that influences the economy is tourism. Tourism is very important in Ecuador, not only for economic purposes, but it transmits the beautiful culture and landscape it has. However, there is more to Ecuador's beauty, and that is the importance of the country's progression. For this, the presentation will tackle its educational system, observing the pros and cons of it. In this next slide, we're going to talk about the dispute between Ecuador and Peru that dates back from 1840. It revolved around whether Ecuador's territory extended beyond the Andes mountain range to the Amazon River. However, the Ecuadorian-Peruvian War displayed here, known as Guerra del 41 or 41, was fought between the 5th and 31st of July of 1941. There are different versions of who started the war and how it happened. However, it resulted with Peru occupying almost the entire province of El Oro and some towns of the province of Loja. The war ended when Ecuador signed the Rio Protocol on January 29, 1942. Yet, as expected, during the attacks of the war, lives were lost from both parts. For this slide, I will be talking about politics and economic issues that have made an impact in the history of Ecuador. First, starting with el feriado bancario, which occurred during 1998 and 1999, with Jamil Mahuad as president of Ecuador. It was a period of economic instability, banking crisis, currency crisis, and debt. Most private banks were closed. The devaluation of the Ecuadorian sucre happened, and it took the Ecuadorian government to adopt the US dollar as its official currency. This issue led to a lot of immigration, and it also led to the overthrow of Jamil Mahuad a year after el feriado bancario. So that happened, the overthrow happened in 2000. Another crisis that occurred in the history of Ecuador is the September 30th in 2010. Rafael Correa was president at the time. And this issue revolved around the elements of the national police blocking highways and airports in both Guayaquil and Quito, the main cities, being blocked as well. The event left 8 dead and 274 people wounded. Overall, it was an attempt to overthrow Correa, which was not achieved. For the next slide, tourism will be presented, and we'll start with 10 places that are prominent in Ecuador. The first one being the city of Guayaquil, which is the largest and most populous city, even though it is not the capital. It's very prominent and it's very touristy. The second one is Lindo, a mountainous watershed that provides a lot of outdoor activities. And then third, we have Salinas, which is an important tourist center known as Little Miami Beach because of its high-rise condominiums along the shoreline. Then the Quilotoa Loop, which is a trail that takes visitors through several of Ecuador's remote Andean villages. Riobamba, the starting point for the spectacular train ride to Nariz del Diablo, Devil's Nose. Then we have Baños, which is one of the most popular places. It is known for its waterfalls, cascading thousands of feet down the deep river. Cuenca, noted for its many old colonial buildings. And then Otavalo is home to one of the most colorful, important weekly markets. For its traditional handmade, it's known for its traditional handmade craft. Then we have Quito, known for its Spanish colonial, and El Palacio Carondelet, the seat of the Ecuadorian government, it's located here. Then finally, we have Galapagos, the islands, which are home to unique wildlife not found anywhere else in the world. Then moving from the beautiful Ecuador, then we also have to tackle other important issues such as education. So I will talk about how education is distributed, the amount of years you spend in primary education and secondary education. I will be talking about the pros and cons of private education, the purpose of public education, and the efficiency of teachers and if they're prepared or not. I will be talking about the infrastructure of both private and public buildings, of public schools, and I will be mentioning some statistics according to UNICEF, and one of them is that the total adult literacy rate from 2008 to 2012 was 91.6%. In addition, this presentation will be mentioning the primary and secondary school participation as well as governmental improvements in regard to the education system. So we'll be mentioning after secondary education as well, and how universities are efficient and how much money it's implemented in both public education and then after secondary education, which is universities. And for the final slide, I will be talking about reflection, and I will be saying what I have learned about my case study country and things that are important for people to know, facts that people should know about this country and how it functions, how the government functions, how people live. And that will be my presentation. I don't have the reflection part yet because I have to do an overview of everything at the end to reiterate my main points of the country, but that will be added later on. Thank you.